Thank you for joining us for another riveting episode of Behind Breaking Bond. Our guest today is...
Hold on a second. First of all, we have to stand up.
Oh.
All rise. All rise for
judge.
the new 177th District Court Judge, Emily Detoto. Court in session.
Please be
Yes.
seated. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
How are you feeling?
Well, I'm still very much in shock. I'm excited. I and my fellow colleagues worked very hard for this. I don't know if you know this, but when you decide to run for judge, it's about a 1.5 year long process. You have to begin by getting signatures on a petition. And there's a way that if you get a certain number of signatures on your petition, you don't have to pay a filing fee. But if you don't reach that number, then you pay a filing fee.
So did you get the signature?
No, I ended up paying the filing fee, which is $2,500 that you pay, and then you begin campaigning. And what I learned is Harris County is a very large county. It goes all the way from Clear Lake to Baytown to Humble, and there's actually parts that are incorporated in Harris County that you may not think are Harris County.
Like Missouri City.
Some of my friends live in, I think, in the Woodlands.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they went to vote. They went to go vote, and they were surprised when they saw my name. So
And I think Kingwood too, isn't like
there are some parts, right?
Harris and some Montgomery County.
Right. Yeah.
What did you do? Did you do a lot of door knocking or?
I did a lot of meetings, so I went to a lot of different meetings.
Civic club.
Civic clubs,
Rotaries,
right.
And
what I did do is I live in an apartment. I live in a high-rise with there's 32 floors. The residents start at the 9th floor and go up to 32. And I didn't know how to get the word out, so I just wrote Dear Neighbor letters and, hand wrote the envelope so it looked like it was actually from their neighbor.
Yeah.
And just got my name out because it's impossible to meet every single voter in the county. And a lot of people said, I'm not going to vote for someone I don't know. And that's impossible to reach millions of voters in such a short period of time, although it was a 1.5 years. So
when you talk to people at these, events and clubs and everything, and when you talk to them, tell them you're running for judge, do people actually pay attention? Do they say, I really want to know about people running for judges? Because
yes and no. And this particular time that I was running, people were curious and they paid more attention. But a lot of people don't realize that Harris County, so I'm the judge-elect of the 177th District Court. A lot of people think, well, I don't live in the 177th.
Right.
But it's the county-wide. The number 177th and the 185th or the 230th, it's just a random number that the legislature gives. So, for example, the legislature just created 3 new district courts, the 495th, 96th, and 97th. Those numbers are just the next numbers that came up.
And that'll be appointed by the governor.
Yes, by the governor. So there will be the 495th, 96th, 97th. Judge Guinea just won her race, so the 183rd will be open for appointment. And then, unfortunately, Judge Aguilar, who passed away, they'll be making another gubernatorial appointment. So that's 5 appointments. Yeah.
Is that's kind of unusual?
It is. It's unusual
right?
at one time. But so that's why I came to say my goodbyes to you guys.
What do you mean? This is goodbye?
This is not goodbye. See you later.
She's a judge now. She's dropping us like
we thought we had you in the bag or something. We've been talking about this.
Yeah. No. So part of being a judge is you have to be fair. You have to be impartial. You have to be neutral, and that's why. I'm unable to opine on any types of cases.
Sure, on any kind of pending cases
just cases that might come before me. So if I was today to say 100% what I would do here, what I would do there, it would make me appear impartial. It would make me appear partial.
Right.
And it's an appearance of impropriety.
And you're the times that you've appeared on this, and you've appeared on Breaking Bond.
Right.
It was almost like a legal expert, if you will,
and that's
kind of
what
thing.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking.
And a candidate.
Yeah,
and
you were primarily talking as a defense attorney.
Right. And so now as much as I'm going to miss you guys
were you specifically told that you can't appear on here?
No. I'm using my judicial discretion, if you will.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not allowed to, so for example, if I said I'm going to do this on burglary of habitations, or I feel this way about thefts of
Sure.
of Pez machines or whatever, that could subject me to a recusal.
Right, yeah.
And so, in the interest of justice,
smart.
to
No.
avoid the appearance of
Yeah.
impropriety, I'm stepping away from being a guest on this show. But it doesn't mean that we can't be friends. Otherwise, we can't talk about dogs and
Right.
and candy and other things and baseball and other things. But
Emily's
yeah,
a big dog lover.
I am a big dog lover.
So tell
How
us.
did your dogs take you winning?
They don't care. They still walk all over me, literally.
Right.
And
They don't
as
think you're a
much-
big deal?
No, and although I'm a judge-elect, I'm still picking up dog poop at
Right,
the
well,
Market
there you go.
Square Park. Yeah.
Where were you last Tuesday night, and how did you find out that you won?
I had dinner with friends. I'm very superstitious, and so I didn't believe in going to a big election watch party.
Yeah.
So I was just eating with friends, and as the night wore on and wore on and wore on, I just basically I went to bed not knowing if I won or lost, and I was pleasantly surprised that the numbers went my way.
How does it work? So you're sworn in, right?
I'll be sworn in on January 1st of 2025.
And then when do you take the bench? Like the next day, or
I guess I don't. Whenever the first working day after that is.
Yeah.
I want to say it's the 3rd. It could be the 2nd, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So then the people that are there, do they stay there? Do you pick people, or
the
how does
staff?
that work? Yeah.
Well, it's discretionary with a judge, but I've heard nothing but good things about the people that are already in that court, and so I'm going to keep them.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like being a manager in baseball. You get a new manager, and the manager will bring in whoever, but
Right.
the manager will
Right.
also can retain
Right.
discretion on keeping whoever is on the staff
Yeah.
as well.
And I've heard nothing but
Right.
good things about the people that are in that court already. People, random lawyers who, unsolicited by the
Yeah.
way, that will just come up to me and say, Emily, these people are great. And so I decided, well, if they know how the court works, why mess up?
Right,
Why
yeah.
start from scratch?
Yeah.
And so,
You want to walk in there with people that have already kind of been
Right.
rolling the ball, and it's
Exactly.
all going. So
Right, exactly. So I'm looking forward to
So when you
starting
get
a new
when you get
chapter.
in the courtroom and you're sitting, behind the, in the chamber,
Right.
do they fit those chairs for you?
I have no idea. I'm bringing my own furniture just because.
do you have to pay for the robe?
I have all of this. I have no idea. I'm going to what's called Judges School
Really?
next month in Georgetown.
That's
I think
cool.
it's from the 13th through the 19th, and they teach us the ins and outs of the job. And of course, a lot of former judges have offered me advice and
Yeah.
given me their email addresses or phone numbers because it's a big deal. It's a new chapter of my life. I mean, I've been a lawyer for 27 years. I was a briefing attorney at the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals for 1 year. I was a prosecutor for 2 years, and I've been having my own practice since 2001. So
You
this
will have done everything.
I will have been on all sides. Yeah, I'm really looking forward
That's
to it.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
When was it when you were officially told you won?
Wednesday.
How did that happen?
Wednesday, I guess when the
Did
Chronicle.
someone notify you?
No, when
No,
the Chronicle
really?
called it. I
Chronicle
found out when everybody else found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. Who would call you, right?
Right.
You would just
Nobody
have to-
calls. And
yeah.
the thing is, the way the media was reporting it, it still said 50%, but it had me up by a couple thousand votes. And so I held off on telling anybody, my family, my father especially, because he's so proud of me that he would run through the streets of Donna and tell everybody, who would listen. So I just waited until it was official because I didn't want to jinx myself.
Yeah.
So
Is there a particular part of it you're looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to serving the citizens of Harris County. I've always been called to serve. It's always been my dream to be a public servant. So for this to actually be happening, I really look forward to hitting the ground running and serving the public.
What does it mean for? I mean, do you still have pending? You must have pending cases. and
Yes,
stuff,
and
I guess,
I'm
right?
handling that.
Yeah.
23 years of practice, I'm winding all that down.
Is it possible to be a judge and practice?
No, it's impossible because especially if you're supposed to be fair and impartial, you can't defend people or you can't also prosecute people and be a judge.
But if you in a small
In
area.
some municipalities, and that's above me at this point, there's some municipalities where you can be a practicing judge and be a lawyer, but I don't know where that is.
Yeah, and I think it's, if I remember correctly, you can do it like in another county. Like
Right.
if you're a judge in some small county,
Right.
it's not going like a full-time gig, right?
Right.
They're not even going to have court every day.
Right.
So I think they could theoretically go into another county and practice
Right.
law.
I have no idea. If you say so, that's that's above me at this point.
If Andy is ever in your court,
First of all,
You
can
will
I
throw
wear
the
this?
book
Can I
at
wear
him,
this
right?
shirt? Can
I
wear
can't
this
give any
shirt?
opinions on anything that might happen.
but one
If you see the two of us in your court, you're in trouble.
Right. Well.
No, if you see
Right.
us, we might just go sit down just for kicks
Right.
one
but
day.
it was, and we've been talking about this. This was probably this election. Judges, it was a big thing.
Yes.
it was a
a
big.
good.
And we were talking before about the whole, all the commercials. Don't you can vote for president whoever you want to, but don't vote out soft on crime
Right.
Democratic judges.
Right. Well, I have no idea what pushed me over the edge, but I'm just happy that
And-
I'm able to serve.
The unusual thing about that, as we've talked about before, a lot of the judges that are on breaking bond segments, they ran unopposed. They're still going to be judges for 4 more
So
years.
they'll be up, and like I said, they're back on the bench, and there's others that obviously have been featured on a lot of our segments that'll be on the ballot in 26. So we'll see what happens, between now and 26.
Well,
but
it's
I
interesting
think,
times indeed.
for, individuals like yourself that you take a risk when you run.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
true.
probably why you didn't have people that wanted to run, because they
Right.
felt that there was a no-win
Right.
scenario for them. Why should I run? I'm not going to win. But so hats off to you for at least doing,
Thank you.
know,
Yes.
doing what you should, and having competition and having people make choices.
They got to choose in that particular
Right.
court.
Right,
it
there
was
was a
up to
choice.
the
you,
voters.
you were
Right.
you were chosen specifically because other voters did not
Choose other
choose
candidates.
other
Right.
candidates under the Republican Party for
Right.
different types of positions.
And we'll
So-
never know. We'll
no,
never
but
know.
that's obvious just in the numbers
Right.
itself. So
Yeah.
people had to consciously vote for you.
Right.
Yes.
And it makes me feel good. I mean, I've been a lawyer, and I moved to Houston. I had two friends, one from law school and one who I met at the Court of Criminal Appeals when I was a briefing attorney. And the city of Houston and the citizens of Harris County have allowed me to make a name, have a practice. I've raised my children here.
What did your kids think of this?
They're thrilled.
I
I don't
bet.
think they really realize, what
They're both in college, right?
They're both in college in Colorado. I was born in the Rio Grande Valley, and my parents, I'm a fourth generation Texan. My parents were migrant workers.
You're as self-made as you can
Right.
get, and
And
you didn't have a
so-
legacy. You didn't have anybody.
Yeah.
You did it on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for me to be able to move here, have my law practice, raise my children who are now thriving in college, it was just the perfect time for me to give back to the community. And I'm really ready to hit the ground running. I mean, I have a lot of work to do between now and the end of the year, winding down a practice, going to judge school.
Are you still? Can you still have your client, or do you have to
I
cut
still-
off all the ties?
No.
or
I'm working.
up
I'm going to
until-
continue to work until the very end.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of cases that I can smoothly transition. A lot of cases we're winding down anyway.
Yeah.
So everything. When I tell you everything worked out perfectly and timing wise, there's not an exaggeration.
I mean, it's a difficult job. I mean,
Right.
there's no doubt about it. I've said it many times that being a judge is not an easy
No,
gig.
it's like
very
being an umpire in
difficult.
baseball. You're
Right.
calling, right, and no matter what you call, someone's going to be upset.
Right.
That's
Right.
reality.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you can't go into this job thinking that you're going to make everyone happy, because
You won't.
inevitably someone's going to not be, and that's
There's a winner
having
and a
been
loser.
And
Yeah.
having been a trial lawyer for this
So-
many years, I mean, especially on the side that I've been on, we have to reevaluate what wins are, and it's going. I'm now a neutral arbiter, and so I understand. I'm going to have people I know on both sides,
Right.
prosecutors I've tried cases against, defense attorneys who I've worked with. I mean, it's just but that's part of it. You can't be at the Harris County Criminal Courthouse without knowing people. So,
Yeah,
and if
right.
that
In
was a
lot of ways,
disqualifier,
when you look at, in a way, the circle is small.
right?
I mean, there's a lot of attorneys in this town, and
Right.
but the circle is small when you
Right.
you go to court and
Right.
you meet prosecutors, you
Right.
meet other defense attorneys.
Right.
Yeah, you meet a lot
Yeah,
of people.
Right. The disqualifying factor is if someone comes before me and I've represented them in the past, then I have to transfer the case and recuse myself.
Right.
So, yeah.
But as far as knowing someone, that's
No,
not enough.
and if that was a disqualifying factor, then
nobody, yeah.
there'd be
Yeah. Nobody
nobody
sitting on
running.
the bench
Right.
on
We'd end
there.
up with a lot of people
So
who
are people treating you differently now?
everybody is treating me exactly
I mean,
the
do they
same.
go
no,
like this to
everybody's
you
being
and-
exactly the
I
same.
know Andy fears you now.
Well, his fear of me is more overt. It's less it's less undercover. But yeah, no, everyone's
You're our first big success story.
Right.
please.
Right?
That's sad. That's
We can say we knew you would.
yes.
Hey,
But yeah.
do you have your replacement for you here?
There's a
You
short
need
list.
okay.
There's a short
Yeah,
list.
right. We
yeah.
need to know. Yes.
Yeah, there's like a physical
Okay.
exam. There's an agility. There's
Right,
there's
that's-
a lot of that. You have to have a specific taste in candy. You have to like sports. You have to know hoops. Yeah,
Yeah, you
it's
have to
it's
be a
gonna
big
be there's a
candy
big
lover.
shoes to fill. I'm not gonna lie. I might be short in stature, but I brought a lot to the table.
And I take it helps too because you do spend so much time in court.
Right.
I mean, that's got to be beneficial
Right.
for.
Right. It's better than learning, on the job. And my first day in a criminal courthouse is not going to be when I'm sworn in. I've spent more than half of my life at the Harris County Criminal Courthouse. Literally half my life. More than half my life.
The biggest impact, probably, when you look at new judges, would be the Court of Criminal Appeals.
Oh yeah, and
Right?
I really haven't. To be honest with you, I know this is going to sound very egocentric, but I have not really kept up with a lot of the other races.
What does that mean for people? I mean, what is it that the court? How is the average person affected by like a Court of Criminal Appeals?
Well, the Court of Criminal Appeals is a court of discretion. So what that means is, so if someone loses at the trial court in a criminal case or civil case, their case has to be heard by either the First or the 14th Court of Appeals. They don't have discretion to turn cases away. And there's no rhyme or reason of which
You're
court of
saying
appeals.
every case
Every case that gets appealed must be heard.
appealed.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, but when as you go higher up the food chain, i.e. the Supreme Court, which hears civil matters, or the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, which hears criminal matters, that's a court of discretion. So the triangle gets more narrow, and so that's why it's called petition for discretionary review, and the word discretion is key because not all cases that get filed at the Court of Criminal Appeals have to be heard.
But then they're really kind of important judges in a way because they're making decisions that become like case law.
Right,
and-
they're making law. They're making case law. And that's one of the things I did when I was a briefing attorney at the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. I worked for a judge, and part of our job was to draft opinions for our judge that we worked for. That judge would then take our draft, and they'd take this briefing attorney's draft, and the judges would hash it out. We as briefing attorneys were not allowed in the room where it happened. But if, let's say, an opinion that I drafted for my judge was adopted by the court, that would then become law.
Yeah.
And so, and it's the same with Court of Appeals. I mean, opinions, those are, they're case law. And so that's what a judge does. So, for example, as a district court judge, whether it's civil or criminal, if a particular party wants to have a decision made by the court can order the parties to brief the issue and say, here's case law saying why my side
Yeah.
is meritorious, and here's case law saying why this side is meritorious. And then at the end of the day, the judge can make a ruling, and then that, depending on if the defense loses, they can use that judge's decision as a point of error to then raise on appeal, and then. So
It just, I think the thing that this election proved in Harris County this time is people do care about who the judge is.
I guess you can say that. I mean, there are people that just voted based upon who their friends said. So, I don't read the tea leaves. I just know that I'm happy that
I think people in this election made a conscious choices on judges because
Yes.
there's a difference between the judicial elections and the other elections in the county.
right.
And that, to me, sends a signal that people were looking at who was running and making a choice at that time. So,
Well, and
yes.
that's why God bless elections. And I'm just ready to to serve. I have a ton of work to do, and and it's not a vacation kind of job. I
Right,
mean,
no.
there's a lot of work to do on the bench as well.
So is there like a transition period there? I mean, is there, it's just like where Biden meets Trump, or does
No.
Johnson meet you, or?
There could be, but it depends. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I've never been in this situation before, so I don't know what the norm is.
Would it affect? Okay, let's say I'm an attorney,
Uh-huh.
and that I have a client in that court, and now you're the judge. Let's say that everything's getting started in December.
Right.
Could I say, well, hey, now this other judge comes in, mistrial, or I want to start all over? How will that work?
No, you don't get a choice of judges.
Right.
For example, let's say that for example, Frank Aguilar's court, he passed away sadly. He's gone.
Yeah.
You can't choose to then go.
No,
have
it's
your
like
case,
it's like a visiting
Right,
judge.
yeah.
Is what visiting judges come in all the time.
Right.
So
Right.
unless
you know,
there's
they-
a motion to recuse, or reason for recusal, and normally those are what's called extrajudicial information that's gained not from the courtroom but from other sources. You don't really get to pick and choose your judge.
But wouldn't that be hard, though, if, let's say a trial starts,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's the second, or you take over, so you're going to be sitting there with a trial that's already in progress.
And that's not
I can't see them
Yeah, that's
starting
not
a
going to
trial
happen.
within,
Yeah, that's not
especially
gonna
during the
happen. They'll, like-
holiday. Yeah.
right.
I would.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, this time of year with Thanksgiving,
Holidays
coming up,
holidays,
That's a good point,
right?
yeah.
I particularly don't have a lot of cases going to trial. Now I do have a case that's set for trial this week. So like when I tell you, we lawyers are practicing till the very end of the year.
Yeah.
And so that's just how it goes.
Yeah. It's exciting.
I
That's
think it's
for
very
sure.
I
exciting.
know we feel like proud parents.
I know,
I
right?
feel kind of
We
like
feel like wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I looked back on when I started your show, it's been, I want to say 4 or 5 years.
We've been doing it now
Yeah.
we've been doing the live stream about 3 years. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
So it's been a long time, and we went from the Crime Stoppers to this shindig, fancy
Right.
shindig. Now, wouldn't you know? Just when we get the fancy,
Now
back.
you-
And we actually had,
and the fancy
meetings,
microphones.
management
Right.
meetings here, whether to keep you on or not.
Right, I know. I'm
Right.
glad.
I
I'm
mean,
glad I
it
won. I
was,
was on
you
I
know.
was on the cutting block. I didn't even know. I mean,
When you brought in the candy, that
that
That's
solidified
what
it. That
saved it
solidified
for
it.
you.
Well, what
That-
about the cologne?
the cologne too,
You know,
what was that,
mistrial.
mistrial?
The thing that I like about you, and when you did appear in reports, you obviously know the law, but you're
Right.
also, I think, very level-headed.
Right.
And it's kind of, I always felt like you were kind of talking for Joe Q public out there, because you have a common sense approach to
Right.
it.
Well, the thing that I liked about appearing on your show was that I was the point to your counterpoint.
Yeah.
And I've having been worked at the Court of Criminal Appeals, I know the appellate level. Having been a prosecutor, I've prosecuted all types of cases, and as a defense attorney, the same. So
You are ready for this.
I bring all a trifecta.
Hold on,
of
Randy,
knowledge,
we
if
have
you
to
will.
go say dismiss.
Yes.
Yeah. Or in the court.
Or in the court.
You get to do that.
Hey, thank you so much,
Thank you so
Emily,
much.
for being with us.
Yeah,
and
I'll miss
good
you
luck to
guys.
you. We'll miss you
Yeah,
too.
I'll
Say
see-
dismissed.
Dismissed. Court adjourned. Hey, thank you so much for watching, and remember to be kind to yourself and everyone else. Bye.
Sayonara.
Bye.